Hello everyone, my name is Brianna Hall and I am a infectious disease epidemiologist. Today I would like to discuss with you the segregation diagnostic test. This diagnostic test is for the chronic oral infections. The purpose of this presentation is basically to give you an educational tutorial in order for me to describe the accuracy of this test as well as its predictive values. I'm hoping at the end of this presentation you are able to take away the overall goal of this diagnostic test as well as knowing how to interpret the calculations, how to calculate, how to interpret the calculations, as well as how to explain the results to your patients. All right, so the overall goal of this diagnostic test is to establish the presence and absence of this oral disease. This test can be used on individuals who are symptomatic as well as individuals who have tested positive during a screening test. This method is painless and necessary for this particular disease detection. The results for this diagnostic test is high sensitivity and low specificity, in which I will explain more during my next slide. The cost for this diagnostic test is inexpensive, which is always great. All right, so a cohort study was conducted using this diagnostic test. This study included a population base of 10,000 individuals, which we can see here. We have individuals who have the disease and we have individuals who do not have the disease. This column here, or this section here, is individuals who have the disease or did not have the disease but tested positive. And then we also have this column here of individuals who have the disease and did not have the disease but tested negative. All right, so the first calculation that was done in this study was the prevalence, in which the total of individuals who have the disease, whether their results came back positive or negative, was 1,400. And this total was divided by the total population, which was 10,000, and this concluded into 14%. So we have a prevalence of 14%, right? So the next thing that was calculated was sensitivity. And for sensitivity, we have individuals who have the disease and tested positive, which was 1,274 individuals. And then we have the total individuals who have the disease in general, which was 1,400. And this concluded at a 91%. So this is what I meant in my previous slide by this test having a high sensitivity. So this high sensitivity, 91%, will it means 91% will be identified. 91% of these individuals will be identified saying that they have this disease. So that leaves 9% who will not be identified who has this disease. All right, so the next thing that was calculated was specificity. Okay, so specificity included individuals who do not have the disease and tested negative, which was 1,357. And then we have a total of individuals who do not have the disease in general, which was 8,600. And this concluded into 16%. So again, this is the low specificity that I stated in the previous slide. So this means that 16% of these individuals will be identified who do not have this disease. All right, and then the next thing that was calculated was positive predictive value. Okay, the positive predictive value was calculated by individuals who tested positive and had the disease, which is again 1,274, and this was divided by the total who tested positive in general, whether they had the disease or not, which was 8,517. This concluded into 15%. So this is the probability that an individual actually had the disease. Okay? And then the next thing that was calculated was the negative predictive value. So the negative predictive value was individuals who do not have the disease and also tested negative, which was 1,357, divided by individuals who tested negative in general, whether they had the disease or not, which was 1,483. This concluded into 92%. So our sensitivity for this study was 91%, in which this tells us how often we correctly diagnose individuals of having this disease using this test. All right, and then we have the specificity, which was 16%, and this tells us how often we correctly diagnose a non-disease individual as not having the disease. Okay, and then we have the positive predictive value again, which was 15%, and this tells us the probability, a person who tests positive has the disease. And then last but not least, we have negative predictive value, which was 92%. And this is the probability a person who tests negative does not have the disease. So this is a high rate here as well as here. And again, high sensitivity, low specificity. Okay. So in conclusion, the secretion diagnostic test is good for catching actual cases of this or disease. So I'm hoping that this was a great takeaway of this particular disease. Again, we can go back to the calculations, and I'm hoping that you are able to explain these results to your patients moving forward. Thank you for listening.